Good morning and welcome to the 50-cent tour of Thursday, February 28th, 2013, the very last day of February for this year. Please find a seat on the Liberty bus and we will commence our tour. Mission Galactic Freedom has a long article with many videos called The Message in Movies, and convincing children through Chicken Little that the sky is falling, and convincing adults through many disaster films and dystopia films that the end of the world is coming. Evidently helps the globalists further their plans because they are doing it in force. If nothing else, it probably generates loosh, the negative emotions on which demonic entities, or if you will, dark alien entities feed, whichever way you see that. And this is not what's going to happen. I mean, they want this to happen. They want to kill us off. They want to go in their underground bases with their seed vaults and hit the reset button for Earth. But I don't believe that's going to happen. And you know, a lot of my Liberty Truth friends are always sending me emails telling me Nibiru's going to hit, this comet's going to hit, on and on and on. Thank God it doesn't happen. And really, we're not just orphans left here. God is in control, and He cares for us. So I say all that to counteract these dark messages coming from these movies. And be careful what you let your kids watch. Okay. How to pass a drug test in 24 hours. I don't need this, but I just wanted to be of service in case any of you need this. And here is part 2, how to pass a drug test, marijuana. This might be applicable to more people because anyone who is aware of the cancer healing properties of hemp, cannabis, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, might well be using marijuana for health reasons. And just want to slip this in, not a big focus for us today, but U.S. Treasury bonds, the biggest bubble in history, about to pop. I didn't want to let that go by without mention. This is a couple days old, well, from yesterday actually. If you are invested, this could be helpful information for you. Misleading, longevity has improved so rapidly that scientists claim 72 is the new 30. I don't think so. Reality does not quite, real numbers don't quite indicate that. And life expectancy has gone down to some extent, and I guess pharma might want to promote this because they would have longer to sell people drugs. But once Obamacare really kicks in full force, the money for the drugs will dry up. So, sorry, old people. Sorry, new 30. Bye-bye. Missed wrong diagnoses come primary care, putting patients at risk of serious complications. I've mentioned before that by most figures, if you add up everything that the medical industry does, healthcare, health, whatever, sick care industry does, it is the #1 cause of death in the U.S. This is just some evidence, a warning, if you will, of what might happen to you if you entrust yourself to this system. Russia refuses to import any more U.S. meat due to safety concerns over ractopamine. I bring this up because it caught my eye. Alex Jones was saying the other day that this horse meat thing is going to become an excuse to not import beef from America, which will harm even further our agriculture in the U.S. So this is, it's becoming an issue. They want to further destroy agriculture in the U.S. Giant food corporations work hand in glove with corrupt government agencies to dish up cheap, unhealthy food. If you really want your 72 to be the new 30, you will be very, very, very careful what you eat, because no one is out there looking out for you and your family. You really have to look out for yourselves when it comes to food safety, health care, so on and so forth. Department of Defense signs $77.9 million drone and destroyer contract with Northrop Grumman. Nice that they have that amount of money to spend on drones when complaints about budget cuts have been made so loudly. And this article has to do with DHS to release 10,000 illegals while building new detention centers. Evidently they can afford that. Evidently the detention is not all that critical, since they'll be letting these people go. But, you know, trust us, right? Sarah Palin, feds are stockpiling bullets for civil unrest. This is big news because Sarah Palin is Sarah Palin. I was wondering a few years ago if she was a product of Project Monarch. She may be. I think it's kind of interesting that she is taking up this cause, which is not a popular one. But if you've ever watched the series Dollhouse, you know that a senator was actually a programmed doll who the corporation who owned the dollhouse was using to challenge the dollhouse. So this is all, these people are so twisted that what they do ends up being really convoluted. So we have to keep our thinking caps on all the time. Clinton Richardson explains CAFR and the corporation nation, and there's also a radio interview that is, I have not listened to yet. I'm sure it's worth listening to. If you've ever heard anything about CAFRs, you understand. If you haven't, you prepare yourself for a shock. Alex Jones some time ago said that the CAFR funds in California are around $70 trillion, and at the same time there are communities like Vallejo, California, who have had to severely cut their police force, their fire force, because they can't afford even basic services, because they supposedly are bankrupt. But all these hidden funds are off the books and not used for the purpose of serving the community as the taxes were collected allegedly to do. Ted Nugent dubs next tour Black Power 2013. This is just kind of some fun news. He's on Alex Jones today. I appreciate that he is doing a Black Power tour. You might think that's odd for a white boy, but he grew up in Detroit. I grew up about an hour from Detroit, and the influence of the Motown music on my life was significant and powerful. So quite honestly, I completely understand why he would do this. Anybody who grew up under that influence is very aware of it, and I have some deep gratitude myself. The Supremes, the Temptations, all the Stevie Wonder. I took it for granted. I started to listen when I was about 9 years old, and tremendous music. 3D printed car is as strong as steel, half the weight, and nearing production. Will we see it? That is an interesting question. China also claims successful test of microwave relativity engine, which amounts to free energy. Will we see this? I hope so. However, the word is that Japan was just about to announce that they had a car ready for mass production that could run on water, and that announcement was to be made in March 2011, and oops, there was an earthquake. So pray that China doesn't have an earthquake before they are allowed, if I may use that term, to fully develop this and release this technology. Pray for the people who are out there pushing on the edges of the envelope, because their lives are in danger. She who will walk in the dark is appreciative of your company on this tour of the day and wants to remind you that the dawn is coming, and weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So take care, insist on liberty, and love one another.